Sadibhuta iti tridha Viprano dashavidha ekada ekadharadhayannacha sadhyatma sadidaivasya sadhuta iti tridha Viprano dashavidha ekadharadhayenacha. Translation and purport by His Loving Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10 and 1 in the sense that He is the body, the mind and the senses, is the dynamic force of all movements, by 10 kinds of a life energy, and He is the one heart where life energy is generated. In the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 4th and 5th, it is stated that the 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence and false ego, are all products of the Lord's inferior energy. Whereas the living entities who are seen to utilize the inferior energy originally belong to the superior energy. The eternal potency of the Lord, the 8 inferior categories, the 8 inferior energies work grossly and subtly, whereas the superior energy work as the central generating force. This experience in the human body, the gross elements, namely earth, etc., form the external gross body and are like a coat, whereas the subtle mind and false ego act like the inner clothing of the body. The movement of the body are first generated from the heart, and all the activities of the body are made possible by the senses, powered by the 10 kinds of air within the body. The 10 kinds of air are described as follows. The main air passing through the nose is called prana. The air passes through the rectum as evacuated bodily air is called apana. The air which adjusts the foodstuff within the stomach and which sometimes sounds as a belching is called samana. The air which passes through the throat as stoppage, of which constitutes suffocation, is called udana air. Yet the total air which circulates through the entire body is called vyana. These 5 airs are other also. That which facilitates the opening of the eye, mouth, etc. air. The air which increases appetite is called krikara air. The air which is contraction is called kurma air. The air helps relaxation by opening the mouth wide, that is in yawning. It's called devadatta air. And the air which helps sustains is called dhananjaya. All these airs are generated from the center of the heart, which is one only. This central energy is superior energy of the Lord in the heart with the soul of the body, who acts under the guidance of the Lord. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text number 15. Sarvachaham radhi sannivishto matta smritirgyanam apohanamcha. Vedesha sarverahameva vedyo vedanta krita veda videvashaham. Central force is generated who is seated there and who helps the conditioned soul in remembering and forgetting. The conditioned state is due to the soul's forgetfulness of his relationship of subordination to the Lord. One who wants to continue to forget the Lord is helped by the Lord to forget him birth after birth. But one who remembers him by dint of association with the devotee of the Lord is helped to remember him more and more. Thus, the conditioned soul can ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. The process of transcendental help by the Lord described in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 as follows. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam tena mam upayante. The buddhi yoga process of self-realization with the intelligence transcendental to the mind, that is devotional service, can be alone elevate one from the conditioned state of the material entanglement in the cosmic construction. The conditioned state of the living entity is like that of the who is within the depth of the huge mechanical arrangement. The mental speculator can reach the point of buddhi yoga after many lifetimes of speculation. But the intelligent person who begins from the platform of intelligence above the mind makes rapid progress in self-realization. Because the buddhi yoga process entails no fear of deterioration and retrogression at any time. It is guaranteed path to self-realization, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 40th verse. The mental speculators cannot understand that the two birds, as explained in Ashvetashvatara Upanishad, sitting in one tree are the soul and super soul. The individual soul eats the fruit of the tree, while the other bird does not eat the fruit only, but only observes the activities of the eating bird. Without attachment, the witnessing bird helps the fruit-eating bird perform fruitful activities. One who cannot understand this difference between soul and the super soul or God, the living entities, is certainly still in the entanglement of cosmic machinery and thus must still await the time when he will be free from bondage. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utabada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagan Raghunathan Kritam Tam Sajam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Varjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Varana Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shri. So here the gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10, and 1 in the sense that he is the body, the mind, and the senses. He is the dynamic force for all movements by 10 kinds of life energy. And he is the one where life energy is generated. So this Virata Purusha or Virata Rupa of the Lord is same as our body. As it is said that Yat Pindi Tat Brahmande. Whatever there you see in this physical body, the same things they reflect in the cosmic manifestation, particularly the Lord's Virata Rupa. So here it is expressed how that Virata Rupa is operated and by whom it is operated. As for our body, we have this different demigods who are controlling our body senses. So in the Virata Rupa also, as it is explained that Lord is there, and by His presence itself, everything comes into existence and start moving. As in our body there are 10 ears, the same way there are 10 ears in the Virata Purusha also. And Prabhupada has clearly mentioned what are the functions of these different ears in our body. One is meant for the controlling the temperature of the body as per the weather. Second is meant for controlling our external activities. Fourth is needed or as to evoke it. And fifth is like maintaining our bodily temperature. And same way there are some upavayus, they stay in our body, which causes the movements of our different senses like eyebrows, mouth. So all these, they keep moving this body for the material activities. Now the question comes, why all these things are explained here? How they are relevant for understanding the God? Why these technical things are there? Prabhupada says actually these things are needed to form our faith in the Lordship. To develop that firm faith in the Lordship. Once you understand or try to hear about how this complicated creation is done by Krishna. Because generally people, they have their own misconceptions for the Lord. Year or two before, there are a few people, they were propagating about there is no existence of God. Nothing like that. Maybe a spirituality, but there is no existence of God. I was surprised to hear that. 2 days back, one person was talking to me here only. He was saying that now in America it's a trend that they have some nest or bird nest, and that was in his car. Bird stays. Bird nest. Chidiya ka ghar. To make that nest also, you need to have a proper art. If you see their nest, they are made so complicated with only straws and blades of grasses, small twigs. It's like a kamandal. Beautiful, they do it. It's not that only human beings are bestowed with the wonderful capabilities of engineering.
In the home also, by liquid, by mouth,
These worms and the reptiles, they make their own home. Very beautiful. From where this sort of engineering design comes in their head? Because Lord, He stays in their heart. As He says, Sarvacham Rati Sannivishnu. I stay in everyone's heart, and from me the life energy comes. And that activates the 10 pranas, and then these 10 pranas, they activate all the senses. Then further in the next verse, it is said, Smaran visrujam misho vidyapitam madho vidnyapitam madhokshajaha virajatmatattabasevane tejasesham nivrittaya. The Supreme Lord is the super soul of the demigods, entrusted with the task of constructing the cosmic manifestation. Being thus prayed by the demigods, he thought to himself and thus manifested the gigantic form of for their understanding. The impersonalists are captivated by the gigantic universal form of the Supreme. They think that the control behind this gigantic manifestation is imagination. Intelligent persons, however, an estimate value of the cause of observing the wonders of the effects. The individual human body does not develop from the womb of the mother and independently, because just a living entity, the soul body, a body plays development and soul has gradually, just of child enters within the universe. Therefore, as gigantic universe develop, the gigantic has developed body of a child. The concept that universe is there, soul and soul within us. Similarly, for want of sufficient, they cannot be that supreme universe. The Lord is therefore described in the Vedic language as Avanasagocharaha, beyond the conception of words and minds. Due to the poor fund of knowledge, the mental speculators trying to bring the supreme within the universe of words and minds. But the Lord refuses intelligible. Yes.
Due to the poor fund of knowledge.
Yeah.
Due to the poor fund of knowledge.
But the Lord refuses to be so intelligible. The speculator has no adequate words for a mind to gauge the infinity of the Lord. यहाँ पे तो अलग दिया. The speculator has no adequate words or mind to gauge the infinity of the Lord. The Lord is called Adokshaja, or the person who is beyond the perception by the blunt, limited potency of our senses. One cannot perceive the transcendental name or form of the Lord by mental speculation. PhDs are completely unable to speculate on the Supreme with their limited senses. Such attempts by the puffed up PhDs are compared to the philosophy of the frog in the well. The whale was informed of the gigantic Pacific Ocean to puff himself up in order to understand or measure the length and breadth of the Pacific Ocean. Frog burst and died. The title PhD can also be interpreted as department, a title meant for the tillers in the paddy field. The attempt of the tillers in the paddy field to understand the cosmic manifestation and the cause behind such a wonderful work to the endeavor of the frog in the well to calculate the measurement of the Pacific Ocean. God can reveal himself only a person who is submissive and who engages in his transcendental loving service. The demigods controlling the elements and ingredients of universal affairs prayed to the Lord for guidance, and thus he manifested his gigantic form as he did at the request of Arjuna. So here again, in detail, Prabhupada is explaining of this Virata Purusha Rupa. And because it is undescribable by our own intelligence, Lord is Avaka Manasa Gochara, who can't be understood through our speech, not through mind. It's not that easy to understand their Lordship. And Agochara. Gochara means one can see him, but Agochara means one cannot see him. But still we see their Lordship in this wonderful, beautiful form. So we'll stop here. Any further discussion? Like a tiller, just preparing the land for sowing something. So knowledge is like that. You should prepare your heart to accept the Lord's devotional service.
So department means they grow the paddy for the order.
Generally, plowing the dough, it is like plowing is done to make land fertile. It turns the soil upside down, so it becomes more and more fertile when you get exposed to sunlight.
So the scientists also doing that, PhD holders.
Prabhupada says they are speculators. So they can't do other than speculation. That is Amagamanasa Gochara. He is beyond your mind, intelligence, and speech. And scientists, what they are doing, they are assuming everything. So, Lord is Athokshaja, Adakrita Akshaja Gana. Learn anything about Lord with the help of this modern science. Because the whole modern science is based on our own bodily experience, which is imperfect.
Okay, if we cannot see and glorified by the world, how can we accept it?
See, whatever necessary for you, Lord provides it. But everyone has to see that universal form, and then only can believe in the Lord's opulence or his magnanimity.
Yeah, you have mentioned that this prana, panudana, all these things as within the Virata body. Same as also same.
Yeah, same way. See, whatever in the micro that is present in the macro. Say that yad pindi tat brahmande. Whatever there in this body, it is just there in the cosmic manifestation in the enlarged way.
Okay.
Like our body is also made up of Panchabhuta. When we die, when this body gets burned, then what happens actually? All these elements which are concealed in this body, they get released and they get back into the origin elements which are there in the cosmic manifestation. So same way, the subtle thing, what we have, they are also having existence in Lord Spirit body.
Same age of the dark bodies, because living entity is going die and going to the Himalaya and charging over there and going to rebirth. That means Buddhism and Vaidism, same as just makes it water to water, fire to fire, and all this, and then finish. You will finish, and nothing is left.
That's why it is called Shunyavad. Nothing is there.
Finish.
Everything get back into Mahat Tattva. Once it goes to Mahat Tattva, it does not have its own existence. Like if you take one drop of the ocean which has fall apart, you take that drop and put it back into the ocean. Is it without which drop we have dropped it in that? Same way all the Jivas, when they entered into Mahat Tattvas, all these elements, when they enter into Mahat Tattvas, they become part of that.
That is, after the Mahapralaya, but it's a mimetic pralaya, like the divinity going to die and coming back, and at that time they are not going to the Mahapralaya.
See, whenever there is a dissolution, all they go to the Mahapralaya only. Whether it is a Nitya, Naimittika, or Mahapralaya. It goes to Mahat Tattva only back. Every time. Even Brahma's night, it goes again Mahat Tattva back to the where they will go, because there is only one stock house or go down they have, that is Mahat Tattva. So where everything gets amalgamated. Amalgamated means randomly put and pushed inside and kept it somewhere.
But it, I think, like Ajahn, Vishnu Dutta, they came. But there is a talking about the Susma Sari, yes? And they are talking about the Susma Sari body to the Himalaya, the tribe. Something in after Panchabhautik will go. Yes, but it's still subtle body will be in that Panis and all this. But they're not going to Mahat Tattva. That's not going to Mahat Tattva until
Pralaya is there. When death happens, only the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and ego, being carried by the Yamadutas.
Yes.
Because these three things makes habituated, then they takes body. Like right now, if I have to get a big body in the next life, this body and my mind, intelligence, and ego, whatever way they are facilitated in this body, it's very uncomfortable for me immediately to jump in a big body. So to create that impressions of that experience, how they will feel in that body, they are carried by the subtle body, which has that feelings, willings, and everything. Just taken to the there get it strained to have the next body.
Yeah, in the Govindabhakta mentioned it's 18 inch body or 12 inch body. I heard about that. It's a subtle body, 12 inch body, and drag, whatever.
It's there. Garuda Purana has given wonderful lucid explanation about what happens after death, step by step.
So many houses, so many beautiful temples.
Everything is explained very nicely in Garuda Purana. If you understand that really, yes.
Oh my God. Which is, after hearing that, nobody wants, if really want to change the heart, it will. Because if
Definitely.
you are, contemplating, you are saying, if focus, we are focusing that punishment over there. Oh my God, it's too terrible. We don't want to
see. That's why
even though remember
in
that.
the 5th canto, actually they have explained upon that we can understand what happens actually when we get a subtle body, which is known as a Vedana Sharira. Meant for to suffer, nothing else. That body get never destroyed there. Gives you just feeling, how you feel, what happened with that, everything is given there in that body. It has only the it's very tough actually.
That's what I think. Mana Srijanti by Deha. Mana
Manasrajanti.
Man Deha.
Yeah.